Has had lots of gimmicks over the years. Some good, some a bit more boring. But no doubt all of them are pretty fun. But this episode isn't about ranking them based on how they look or how cool they are. This is about how I think they would taste if they were edible in some capacity. That means this is a Kamen Rider Gimmick eating tier list. First up, Advent cards are still kind of just paper, so they're probably going to rank pretty low. I don't like eating paper. I used to do it a lot in preschool, but I'm kind of grown up now, so I'm going to put it pretty comfortably in a solid D tier. Next! Rouse cards are pretty similar to Advent cards, but they are laminated, which means they do taste slightly different and probably a little better, meaning I'm going to put them in C tier. Next! Yes, I am including Hibiki's disc animals. Yes, I think they look delicious. They look like giant lifesavers that are also half Bakugan, so naturally I'd like to eat them. And as someone who loves lifesavers, I'm honestly probably going to put them in B tier. They look like there's lots of, tons of flavors. Next! I hate bugs, but these are metal robot bugs, so I imagine they taste like metal and circuitry and maybe also regular bugs. Without the protein. That makes them a definite F tier. Next! I'm gonna be honest, Kiva Fusels honestly look pretty delicious as is. They look like they're little, clear bits of peppermint bark that are super crispy and, crunchy, and, all the different Fusels are somehow different flavors. I don't think grape peppermint bark would be good for Dogga, but I think they could do really good things with that. Anyway, they look extremely edible. I would eat them now, but if they were flavored, I would absolutely lose my mind and never stop eating them. 8 out of 10. We're gonna put them in A tier. Next! Rider cards are just like Rouse cards, laminated paper, probably taste okay, also going in C tier. Let's go! Heisei Phase 2! Here's where the gimmicks split into also having sub-gimmicks. I'm talking Splash Jellies, I'm talking Energy Lock Seeds, I'm talking, oh my god, there's so many Gashats. First up, Axel! Gaia Memories are hands down one of the tastiest looking accessories in this show. Top tier gimmick. Easy S tier, I'll tell you that off the bat. They look like push pops, but rectangular and with cool lights, cool sounds. Awesome theme, and they do so much cool stuff in the show. I also want to eat them so bad. Easy S tier, they look delicious. Oh my god. Now it's time for bonus sub gimmick from Double.
証明された。相変わらず無茶な相棒だぜ。さあ翔太郎、早く蹴りをつけよう。ああ。ジョーカー。
This is Fang. I really like Fang. Fang is hands down one of my favorite parts of Double as a really cool tertiary character, I guess I'd say, and a Gaia memory. And I bet he'd be a super tasty gummy snack. That's right. I know I said that Gaia memories are more like hard candies like Push Pops, but I believe Fang would be like a gummy, like a fruity blueberry cool flavored gummy that I could munch on. It would be super delicious. Fang easily goes in S tier, just like Gaia Memories. No contest. Next! That's right, it's time to talk about one of the most delicious looking snacks in Kamen Rider. Shuwatana. Core medals? I mean core medals from Kamen Rider O's. Saved it. Core medals from O's look absolutely delicious. They look like those little chocolate coins, except they're all flavored and kind of like Jolly Ranchers. They're like a way better cheap lollipop, you know? It's like You still get to have the candy without the stick getting in the way, and it's awesome. I love them. They look so delicious. I don't think it's a surprise to anybody, but I'm definitely putting O Metals in S tier as an absolutely top tier Rider gimmick that I would eat now. Just like Fusels, but even better. Just for fun, we'll count it as a bonus. Let's do the bonus animation for Cell Metals. That's right, Cell Metals are the secondary gimmick item of Kamen Rider O's as well. Cell Metals are very similar to Core Metals, except they don't vary in color. They do vary in animal, though. Their front sides have a bunch of different animals, just like Core Metals do. But however, that is not important. What's important is the fact that they all look like mystery-flavored airheads. That's right. I imagine they are the exact same candies as the Core Metals, except they are mystery-flavored. You get a whole bag of them. You never know what you're going to get. Because you can't explicitly choose your flavor, I cannot rank them any higher than B tier, because we all have flavors we don't like. No one likes getting a mystery airhead that tastes like your least favorite thing. Like if you don't like pineapple and you get a pineapple mystery airhead, kind of ruins your whole day. Sorry, Jose. I didn't mean to scare you. I'm just really excited to talk about your gimmick next. Astro Switches. Astro Switches are all pretty much the same, so there's not going to be a bonus gimmick here, and that's kind of unfortunate, because I think they could have gone a lot of cool ways and a lot of cool flavors, because honestly, these look like they're pretty rough to eat. Looking at an Astro Switch and the thought of chewing on it kind of gives me the same dread as eating a tortilla chip vertically. Could go fine, could not go fine. There's so many Switches, I really can't tell. But they all look like they're tons of interesting flavors, and given how I love rock candy, I'd probably come around to it eventually. So I'm going to put them at an upper B tier. This one's a pretty easy A tier, you know, wizard rings, ring pops, they look like candy as is, trust me, I have one, they're pretty sick. Wizard, classy as always, ends up in A, dude, showtime for real. Next! Now we take a look at the secondary gimmick for Wizard, Beast Rings. Now, Beast Rings actually, to me, don't look that tasty. I'd put them in C tier for like look alone in terms of how easily I convert them into like a candy. But given their existence in the show, I picture them as more of a Kinder Surprise type candy. You have to dig it out, really tasty, extra delicious. Therefore, I would actually put them at a solid low A tier because I love bonus toys in my candy. Next! Lock on! Lock on! It's Gaiam time, and that means it's time to talk about, hands down, the best looking gimmick in this game. I want to eat it! Lock Seeds. Lock Seeds are absolutely an easy higher than S tier. They're going in their own tier, the Fruit Jesus tier, because they're literally food. They are the most edible thing on the show anyway. The perfect gimmick for this tier list. Lock Seeds look absolutely delicious. I got a bunch of comments about how they're easily an S tier, no problem, and I of course have to agree with that, except for the fact that they're better than S tier. The stuff in S tier is great, but they're not food. Lock Seeds are food. So therefore, Lock Seeds are going to be our very first and our only Fruit Jesus tier. No surprise, but it's bonus gimmick time.
変身。
メロンエナジー。ロックオン。
Lock seeds alone go in fruit Jesus tier, sure. But energy lock seeds easily also go in S tier. They may not be sanctioned by the fruit god, but goddamn do they still look tasty. Easy S tier, gonna go eat one right now. Next!
考えるのやめた変身
Derive! Type! Speed!
I'm gonna be handling shift cars and signal bikes at once. They both seem like they'd become that chalky candy you find inside of tins meant to promote like Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh! And even Kamen Rider itself sometimes overseas. So I'm probably gonna have to put them in like C tier because I'm not a big fan of the chalky candies and they don't look very edible. Next! God, Ghost is so pretty. Anyway, icons. Icons look like eyeballs. What do we see around Halloween time? Around the time this video is coming out. Eyeball candies. That's right, eyeball gummies, eyeball chocolates. And given how many colors of icons there are, I think they'd be a stellar Halloween candy edible treat, which means I'm gonna put them in A tier, at the top of A tier for their round of the year markability, plus the extra sales in Halloween would be ridiculous. I could see Edison being lemon, Musashi being cherry, Houdini being grape, perhaps Nobunaga also being grape. There's a lot of icons and there's a lot of cool ones that I think they could do a lot of really good candies with, and honestly, I do think they look really tasty. It's the neon plastic for sure.
たとえお前が何も信じられなくても俺はお前を信じている心があるから通じ合うだから人間って素晴らしいんだお前の命をつながる思いがつながるんだ
あら、良き友を得たな。
青春だね。それが人間ってもんだよ。
I wanted to play that without interruptions. I think everyone who's seen Ghost can agree that Elaine definitely deserves his own category as a snack. But we're going to be talking about the Necrom icon. If you've heard it, you know it sounds pretty good, and honestly it looks pretty tasty. It looks like, of course, a regular icon, but like it's got a big goo-filled bit in it. Apparently because it's like supposed to be eyedropper themed. Not important. What is important is if you fill that with like a tasty fruity juice, you have literally peak gummy candy. I'm giving the Necrom icon an S tier just for that alone. Next! Time to talk about X8 Gashats. X8 Gashats, honestly, look pretty tasty. They have the same clear bit that Fusels do, but they also have the super neon-y, colorful, fruity looking handle bit. If you removed the handle and you made it more clear or some kind of candy, I think it would taste great. We got bubblegum for Action X, blueberry for Tattle Quest, on and on and on, and honestly, I think it'd be pretty good. I'm gonna put them in the high B tier.
心が躍るマックス大変身
Dual gear gadgets could easily be those big juicy lollipops with the swirls in them, and since they're all, dual, basically that's what they'd be, and I love those, so those are going in A tier. Next!
さあ実験を始めようか。
Rabbit Tank Best Match. Are you ready?
変身。
Hagane no Moon Salto Rabbit Tank.
It is finally, well and truly, build a clock. The time is upon us for me to rate all the fascinating and interesting gimmicks in Build on how I want to eat them. First things first, full bottles and Evolt bottles, mainly because I feel like they'd be the same type of candy with a slight twist. I believe Build and Evolt bottles would become a sort of juicy drop pop-esque candy, with full bottles being the typical part sweet, part sour, and then Evolt bottles being all sour for like people who like warheads. With all that, I am putting both of these comfortably in A tier.
2人だ。スクラッシュドライバー。借りるぞ。
スクラッシュドライバー。
ダメだ。やめろ。こいつらを倒すにはこれしかねえんだよ。変身。バンド。
Splash jellies were definitely going to be on this list. It's honestly no surprise. And in fact, they probably inspired the whole list. Without a doubt, I think splash jellies are gonna be at S tier. Do you know why? Because when I bought my splash driver, I thought they would be little pads of gel that I could flick around, maybe cut open, maybe put it in my mouth. But they're sponges. That's how good they look. That's how tasty they are. That's how S tier they are. I wanted to eat the DX gimmick, but I couldn't, and I'm angry. S tier. Next!
Gates.
Henshin!
Rider time.
Kamen Rider Gates.
まあ大丈夫だ。きちんと東映から殺し屋が差し向けられる。
東映の殺し屋なら安心だな。
すでに東京湾に沈んでいるだろう。
With the end of Heisei comes their final gimmick, ride watches, which I imagine as cookies. There are lots of types of cookies out there and lots of ride watches to make cookies on top of. Therefore, as someone who loves cookies and loves ride watches, I'm gonna have to put ride watches in a solid A tier.
Beyond Driver!
何？
Was it? Action!
変身。
東映フューチャータイムすごい時代未来仮面ライダー
It's finally time to talk about Woz, and more specifically his gimmick, Mirror Ride Watches. Mirror Ride Watches are just like ride watches, except they have doors on them and can actually play music, genuinely. If you hit the button on a Mirror Ride Watch 3 times, it will play a song based on what it is. It's safe to say from the jump that these are also going in A tier. Mirror Ride Watches are honestly even cooler than regular ride watches and look pretty tasty. However, the issue comes whether or not they'd be a cookie just like ride watches. Maybe they'd be some sort of full dessert treat, like a small cake, where the inside is slightly different from the outside. Maybe like a dipped cake of sorts. That sounds interesting. Anyway, also going in A tier.
ファイナリー4タイム賞金大エクスプロージョン
続いてレイ・ワンダホー
行くぞ
Jump Thunder Authorize
Finally, we move into Reiwa, and to start it off, we're talking about Progrise Keys. Progrise Keys, lots of clear plastic, lots of neon colors, therefore they look pretty tasty. Package them up as individual, weirdly flavored, super awesome candy bars, and boom, you've got a tasty B-tier candy. Given the theme of the tier list, as we move into Saber, I figured there was only one man to use as the mascot. That's of course, Slash himself. Also, to celebrate his absolute sweeping victory in the Best Saber Rider poll on Twitter. Absolutely deserved Daishinji's peak. And in that vein, Wonder Ride books could be sold easily as an ice cream sandwich. And even though I can't have ice cream myself, I know that ice cream sandwiches are honestly pretty fucking delicious. So I'm gonna have to put Wonder Ride books in a solid S tier.
ロックバンドとある戦いを強いられた動物たちが奏でる勝利の四重奏ブレーメンのロックバンド劇団現代行くぜ
これが最後の戦いね行くわよアギレラやったね
With the list coming to a close, we find ourselves with the next to last show, Kamen Rider Gimmick, featuring the main gimmick of Vice Stamps. If this list has done nothing else, it's proven that I have a deep affinity for how clear plastic looks and how edible I feel it looks. Vice Stamps are covered in them, plus, during transformation sequences, they emit some kind of jelly that I bet is absolutely delicious. And while I am trying not to appeal to recency bias or my obvious favoritism given certain characters in the show, I really do think Vice Stamps look absolutely delicious. Crazy delicious, super tasty, ultra yummy, honto no omae. They look so good, and I cannot explain why. They could be a gummy, they could be a hard candy, they could be anything. I'd probably eat them without a doubt. Gonna have to go in S tier. Ladies and gentlemen, I am pleased to announce it is finally Geetin time. That's right, we are on our final show for the tier list, Kamen Rider Gitsu, the currently airing Kamen Rider show featuring a hotshot protagonist, a stinky dinky purple rival, and two really cute idiots who I hope don't die. This show's gimmick, raised buckles, actually have two variants. Striker raised buckles, which are large, have more abilities, more sounds, more strong, yada yada. And then there's the typical raised buckles, which are small armaments meant to give a player a boost in the desired Grand Prix. However, only one of these gimmicks will be crowned within the two of them with having the higher ranking, and it actually might surprise you. Starting out with Striker raised buckles, I unfortunately am going to have to make them our very first and only E tier. They are super clunky, they do not look the most edible. I honestly can't imagine any way to turn them into candy, but that's because they're all so different, they're all so fresh, they're all so cool. So really, it is a positive, but also for this tier list, a pretty big negative. Gonna have to put Striker raised buckles in E tier. And finally, our final gimmick, standard armament raised buckles, are going in A tier. They look like cute little fruit flavored cracker type items, scones. They look like small scones you can pop in your mouth with cool different little themes and maybe different flavors based on what type of weapon it is. They look a lot more fun to eat than Striker raised buckles. And with that, it's official. The tier list comes to a close with our final rankings in place for how edible I think all of these gimmicks are. And of course, for fun, Daishinji will be joining us for the final tier list listing. In F tier is sadly only the Kabuto sectors. Despite having a cool rider, they look like they're pretty gross, not gonna lie. In E tier are Striker raised buckles for being just too big.
Henshin.
In D tier we have unlaminated, slightly boring advent cards. On to C tier we have Rouse cards, Rider cards, Shift cards, and Shignota bikes. As we move out of the average and into the good, we come into B tier. For B tier, we have Gashats, Cell Metals, Astro Switches, Disc Animals, Icons, and Progress Keys.
Henshin! Progress! Metal Rise! It's high quality.
After B comes A, so let's move on to A tier. For A tier, we have Dual Gear Gashats, the Fusils from Kiva, Wizard Rings, Beast Ring, Non-Striker Raised Buckles, Full Bottles, Evolt Bottles, Ride Watches, and Mere Ride Watches.
Action! Toei Future Time! すごい時代未来仮面ライダー
祝え過去と未来を読み解き正しき歴史を記す預言者その名も仮面ライダーウォズ新たなる歴史の1ページである
Now we finally moved into S tier, the tastiest of the tastiest, the best looking memories to eat in my opinion. First up we have Gaia Memories, followed by the Fang Memory, also from Double, Core Metals from O's, Energy Lock Seeds from Gaiam, the Necrom Icon from Ghost, Splash Jellies from Build, and Vice Stamps from Revice.
だから全力で償うわウィークエンドライバーさくらこれが私の覚悟よ変身サワードアー
now for the final item on this list, the peak, the best, the champion of this list, if you will, Lock Seeds. Yes, Gaiam, you can take your victory lap, as your gimmick is the absolute tastiest, to my opinion, in Kamen Rider history. Lock Seeds are literally food. They are a source of nutrition in this show. They look like food. They are food. They're delicious, and the forms are absolutely ridiculously cool. Not a single bad suit in Gaiam, and I stand by that. Congratulations, Lock Seeds, for being the only item to rest in the Fruit Jesus tier. So, you finished the video, and now you know my thoughts on which Kamen Rider gimmicks I would and would not eat. Do me a favor and tell me which one you think is the best below. Did you think Lock Seeds deserve their own tier? Did you think maybe they just should have been put in S? Did you think maybe Vice Stamp should be lower and maybe Kabuto's Ector should be higher? Let me know. I tweet about tokusatsu stuff over on my Twitter, @CallMeCalamari, and I do a lot of streaming on Twitch when I have time of games like Overwatch, Apex Legends, Fortnite, things like that, to capture footage for videos like these. You can find me on twitch.tv, also /CallMeCalamari. I do dubs sometimes. I'm working on one right now for 500 followers on Twitter. That'll be fun. You can get ready to check that out when it comes out. And overall, I just really hope you enjoyed. Thank you to these people who sent me messages and replied to my original tweet about where they think items should be on this ranking. I have another video on Ultraman, if that's your thing. If you're looking to get into it and you want to see that, I'll leave a link to that in the description as well. But otherwise, I really just hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you in the next one.
Lapios!